So welcome to yet another episode of Rumble, and taking up from where I left off with Shyam the last time. We were talking about the MNREGA and why it was not as good as it was planned to be. Other things got in the way, and if you want to know what that was, go watch the other interview with him. But now we bring into another important thing, which is why are businessmen unhappy with the present government, the NDA government, that is the Modi government, though they've been accused of being pandered to relentlessly by the government. Why are they unhappy? So, Shyam, what is the explanation for that? Why are businessmen unhappy?
You look at the last 10 years. First, businessmen were able to accumulate land to their heart's content at rock bottom prices, showing AC
But I thought that was not allowed.
No, yes.
Only now they're making them.
The regulation to stop land acquisition came 6 months before the election in 2000.
The last election.
The recent election.
Okay.
So for 9 years and 6 months, there's nothing stopping businessmen.
Oh, you mean this land acquisition bill
It's only 6 months old.
That's all?
Before the government came to power.
Oh.
And the second thing is that, so businessmen in the 10 years of UPA were able to buy land very cheap with the help of the government.
Because there was no regulation.
No, government claimed that special economic zones are very good.
Okay.
UPA claimed that SEZ is good for the economy. It will create export competitiveness. That Indian business will set up huge factories, and then people will come back from outside and set up huge factories from which we will make products which will be exported to the world. Doesn't it sound very familiar to make in India? But to enable this, or in the name of enabling this, government went in as a land broker. Okay. It forcibly took land from farmers and rural poor who owned these lands and gave it to big business. So big business was able to build land banks. Okay. Then they were sold spectrum cheap. That is your 2G scam. Okay. Then they got coal licenses cheap. Okay. They got mineral resources cheap.
So it is completely misplaced to say that this government has done that?
All this happened in the last 10 years of UPA.
Okay.
Then you know what happened. The Supreme Court put an end to spectrums. It cancelled all the auctions.
Yes.
Coal auctions were cancelled just after this government came to power.
Yes.
And mineral wealth also was treated in the same way.
Yes.
And in many instances, people needed some financial relief. Most of the people needed financial relief. Who are these people? All of them are the bunch of crony capitalist businessmen who had it good for 10 years.
Among whom are, let's say, telecom companies.
Everything is with them.
Fertilizer, the whole lot.
Everything.
Big business, in other words.
Big business never had it so good as they had it under UPA. Coincidentally and through policy response, Modi government has not helped anyone.
So it is exactly opposite of what we have been fed.
It is opposite of what the media is trying to project. I'll give you a classic example.
Why would the media do all this? I mean, are they ignorant or are they got some other agenda?
No, I will come to that.
Okay.
I'll give you an instance. Just 6 months before the election, Mr. Manmohan Singh's government was in a tearing hurry to increase gas prices from $4.20 to $8.40.
That's for the Reliance
It appointed a committee headed by no less than a person than Dr. C. Rangarajan to finalize this price, and the recommendations were made.
Okay.
It took the power of the Supreme Court to block this.
Thank God for them.
After coming to power, Modi government gave a price of $6.20 first, not $8.40. Subsequently, it has been revised down to $5.80.
So we have to thank the present government?
The gas price is continuously coming down. Now tell me, the company which had almost got $8.40, get $5.60. Is he going to be happy with this government?
Definitely not.
Same case with all those who lost coal licenses, thought this government will give some backdoor entry back into those mines. It's like throwing you out of a house that you have built on land that you have encroached.
Okay.
Now, see, you are trying to somehow retain it, right? That's the psychology of the big business today.
Correct.
Nobody was able to get in. They were forced to do an auction. Some other people tried to fix the auction prices. The government has again gone and acted on that.
So is that government doing it or is that the court stepping in?
No, in all these cases, it's the government, not the court.
So we have to...
Court hit a Control-Alt-Delete button. It stopped everything.
Okay.
But due processes that have been reinitiated are under the control of the government.
Okay.
And then now gas pooling has been done. So those who are getting gas through lobbying now are going to get gas at market-driven prices. When you lobby and you get gas, you are getting it at subsidized prices.
Yes.
Industry was also getting subsidies in some form or the other. Now all those things are becoming market driven.
So is that dangerous for industry? Forget about whether it's good for them. I know it's not good for them because their profits will come down. They're buying their raw material at higher prices. But is it dangerous for the health and survival of industry? Inadvertently, are we throttling them and killing off the golden goose?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. The efficient ones will thrive.
All right.
If I have borrowed money more than what my balance sheet can withstand, in the hope that I will do something speculative to create more wealth.
Okay.
I am not an industrialist. I am a crony capitalist.
Okay.
I am hoping that I will either defraud a bank or try to raise money from gullible investors or get something from the government.
Any examples of gullible investors that you can think of to whom this happened?
No, there are so many people who have invested in these very same companies at very high prices on the premise that they owned valuable iron ore mines, that they owned valuable coal mines.
All fraudulent.
Exactly. Most of these people have raised money in 2007, 8 and all that based on assets which they acquired through crony capitalist practices.
Okay. So this is thanks to the present government.
No, the present government has not given any width or room for them to maneuver.
No, I mean the stopping of these unfair practices has been thanks to the government.
They are definitely following a more transparent procedure than before. There's no doubt.
So there's some silver lining to this miserable situation.
Business is definitely unhappy. Large business is unhappy.
Business is unhappy, but the nation is on the right path according to him. So we'll find out why is it so that this government is able to stop something that the others could not or would not. So all these capitalists who have made hay or thought they were making hay, and now they're being told that they are actually crony capitalists, or the government is now being accused of pandering to them and giving them things cheap. Now you say that all those things that they got is not such a great deal because they have not been been pandered as people think they are. So what do you think about a guy like Adani who's been told that he's worth so many trillions? Is he actually worth so many trillions?
See, stock market valuation is not something that you can take for granted. First. Second thing, what are the kind of assets that these people have bought for business?
Okay.
If they have bought resource assets,
like a mine,
like a coal mine,
okay,
they are not going to do as well because coal prices are going down. So owning an asset is not a competitive advantage anymore.
Okay.
And this is not just Adani.
But why is the coal price going? Is that a temporary phenomenon?
Because, I don't think. I think, what has happened is because of China's import of coal during the previous decade. People imagined that requirement would sustain forever, whereas China was hoarding coal. So seeing this demand, there has been a huge capital investment in different countries to increase coal production.
So
like in Australia,
all that is negative.
Like in Australia, like in Indonesia, all the coal producing countries have dramatically increased their coal production.
All based on export.
All based on export.
To China.
To the world, to the emerging markets.
Okay.
Now what has happened is that Europe has slowed. So the requirement of coal globally has dipped. China stopped importing too much coal. So there is a huge surplus in the global markets. So owning a mine is no more a competitive advantage.
Operating the mine is still good.
No, you operate a mine.
Get the mine and use it for generating electricity.
See, if you have bought a mine based on an assumption of a very high price, operating it cannot be lucrative.
Okay.
So all the mining assets of Adani are not going to do as well as people imagine.
Okay.
In
fact, he needs some sympathy now.
Correct. Which he is not getting.
I know. He's been vilified.
Okay. He has some parts of his business which are good. Like the port and the SEZ that accompanies it.
Okay.
It's a good business. Not all parts of Adani's business.
But power generation.
Power generation again. If you are going to generate power with your own coal, your cost is fixed.
Okay.
Whereas if you are going to buy coal from the market and coal prices are going to go down, the person who doesn't own coal assets,
he benefits.
He is better off.
Correct.
Adani is going to not going to buy too much of coal. He is going to produce his own coal, and that's where his model may be a bit flawed.
If he's not going to buy coal.
Yeah, he has his own mines.
I know.
So then he won't buy from anybody else.
Correct.
He'll bring it from his own mines.
Right.
Which is what he's trying to do.
So won't that make his electricity cheaper?
No, because between make or buy, for example, you take Australia where he has got these mines, the amount of money he is going to spend to make it, to protect those coral reefs, to make it environmentally acceptable to local governments, to lay a railway line through forests, and then ensure that it is also ecologically correct. So the ecological correctness of that activity will raise the costs so much that finally when he brings the coal to India, it may not be such a great thing. Whereas guys who have ready-made mines may be able to produce more coal cheaper.
Is it just because of tough environmental standards that all this is happening in Australia?
See, it was at one time it was worthwhile to do all these things because coal prices were so high. A falling price of the commodity changes the dynamics of a business. Traditionally, you need not own mining assets if you are a user of mineral.
Yes.
Now, in between, for a short period of time, it became imperative that you own mining assets. You had to own them. Again, the trend is reversing back to the old edict.
Which is let the coal producer be the coal producer, you be the consumer.
Adani is trying to be both, which means that his fortunes will be mixed.
Okay. What about the other people in other fields? Okay, coal is one, we see a little bit of a dip in demand. How about, what are the other field that you can think of? How about somebody who's put up communication networks like
that is a field which is going to be phenomenal.
Growth.
Yes. Telecommunication will transform India.
Okay.
I'll tell you how. See, today, even in remote places, people have access to technology. You take Tamil Nadu, for instance.
Yeah.
A good example of a welfare state. Here you are giving laptops to children.
Okay.
So, if you are going, if they are spending 200 rupees on a high-speed data connection, which will be available freely in the next 12 months, the ability for them to gain access to knowledge and information which otherwise is not readily available around them is something dramatic. It will transform our country. Telecommunication will definitely transform.
So that's one field where you feel the big business will benefit.
It will benefit.
Coal, you said, is down. Who are the other one? How about power generators of other types?
See, power generation as a business is not such an exciting business.
I mean, considering
why it became
oil.
Exciting was because we had not done adequate investments in the previous decades. Whereas the economy started growing at 8-9%. And your investment cycle in power assets was not matching economic.
Why was that not?
It's our usual planning process was weak. So we were not able to bring assets on the ground fast enough. Though we, with all good intentions, we are not able to bring the plants up and ready before demand.
So we also have this present thing where the government has removed the planning commission. They said, those guys are not doing their job well, or we need to rename that lot. Whatever it is some of this also due to lack of foresight from that same committee, which is being praised by some quarters and run down by. I'll find out when we come back. So now this question about the Planning Commission, one of our most respected or venerated bodies, suddenly got the chop. And I don't know whether it's the same thing has come in a different, a different name, whatever the new name for it, or was it completely abolished? What is the situation in the central planning?
They have abolished the system of central planning, which is a Nehruvian relic.
Yeah, also Soviet era relic.
It's from the 50s.
Okay.
And the Planning Commission was not on the same page as the government. So spending so much money on the Planning Commission was really not a great idea.
Okay.
It was not delivering fast. So now you want somebody to give you an idea which is quick.
But why suddenly this shift of opinions about the Planning Commission?
No, it was always there.
They always thought it was
always there. You are putting a person whom you could not accommodate in the ministry as Vice Chairman of Planning Commission.
Oh.
And then you are accommodating a lot of people who are ideologically loyal to your politics.
You could give them all a place to go.
That is how the Planning Commission worked.
Okay.
And then they had some abilities. So they clinically produce recommendations. Okay. By the time they come up with the recommendation, your requirement has run ahead. So the process really did not benefit us.
Okay.
It was like a snail at work.
All right. They were actually impeding growth. Or
no, they were not able to match our growth needs. Somebody should come up with ideas well ahead of when it is needed. For example, you should tell and you should give a roadmap to how power assets should be set up. How can you do it fast? What are the roadblocks? And you should carry a voice into the ministries, which it never had.
So is it that you didn't have heavyweight economists and heavyweight people who forecast all these things in those bodies?
No, planning commission.
Said, always somebody was just
there will be, but they are all ideologically aligned, whether it is the left or the right.
Okay.
There were ideologically aligned people in the planning commission to those in power. So how can you go and question them?
Okay. So no new revolutionary ideas would be accepted? Nobody came with ideas?
Show me a revolutionary idea from the planning commission in the last 3 decades. What have they done?
No idea. I don't even know what they do. I'm just saying that these are names that we know about and...
No, they will have highly respectable people. That's not the point. But then, it's like a retirement position.
Okay, it's a sinecure. You retired, you still...
And one more thing the planning commission did was get into allocating capital to states. So through the planning commission, the center could actually negotiate states and influence how much money center gives a state. Today with the new structure that has been put in...
This federal, whatever they call it.
Yeah, the arbitrariness is gone.
Okay. Why wasn't all this apparent in the last 60 years that we had this body?
Because see, you had states which had a huge population like UP and Bihar, which were not developing at the same rate as a Tamil Nadu or a Maharashtra or a Gujarat.
Okay.
And so you had to have some arbitrariness in helping these states.
So it was deliberately kept that way?
Because your votes are there, no? Your population is there.
You divert some funds from me and stick it there?
Naturally.
Okay, so there's in a way a certain sense.
It was a maneuvering tool. See, it was a maneuvering tool. Now it is gone. There is now a system
what makes this government bold enough to knock off a traditional thing which is suiting them all these years? Suiting governments?
Because the time was ripe for an alternate structure of federalism.
Okay.
Because it was ready.
So you think this would have happened regardless of what government would have
I think so.
We had elected them?
Yes.
Reality would have forced them to change and junk these whole things?
Yes. Everybody knows the relationship between the previous planning commission deputy chairman and the finance ministry. Okay. They were not seeing eye to eye.
All right.
If you spend 5 years like this, what's the purpose of that body?
No, but this is true for so many years.
It was true of several such governments.
Okay.
It's just that it was running like an old habit.
So this is just a bold step, should we say? I think so. And a good one.
Yes.
So we should actually give Mr. Modi a pat on the back for having knocked it off.
Yes, its time had come and he bit the bullet.
Okay. So this planning commission being out of the way, now what is the system that has replaced it? It's just
you have a more consultative body called the Niti Aayog.
Yes.
Which I think will be more interactive than the planning commission and it will be faster in its responses.
So the sharing of money will now become more logical or more...
The sharing of money is now through a formula which is already there.
Okay.
So the states know what they are going to get.
So it's no longer the surprise that will come to you when the planning commission...
Center has some discretion, but you don't have this planning commission driven bargaining.
Okay.
Where a state goes and makes its demand and then center gives. That culture is blocked.
Okay, it's Shyam says there is, things are happening in the right direction. Some areas still not so good. As I said, Manrega is not such a great idea, though it looks like a fantastic idea to keep the poor people fed and whatever. They might be doing that, but we're destroying farm labor, we're destroying very other things in the process. So the loss of the planning commission, according to him, is nothing to be worried about. Relax, sit back, have a Charminar, as the old ad goes. So we'll see you in the next episode.